Where them organizers and agitators at? Okay, now 3 of them are on the stage today to talk about the assaults on the histories of minorities and much more.
In the law, there really is no difference between DEI and affirmative action. Now, there's an attempt to create this myth that it is in fact discrimination, but I would argue that the Supreme Court in the most recent case, which would be Fair Admissions versus Harvard as well as UNC, has continued to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion is constitutional. It's just those 2 schools did not narrowly tailor their race-based admissions policy. So if it's still constitutional, it's still affirmative action, it's still a strength. And so what I want people to take away from this is an old attack that we've seen before. This is an attempt to roll back the balancing of the scales. And so when you hear DEI, I want you to call that person in by saying, say what it means. Say you are against diversity, equity, and inclusion, the same way your foreparents were against integration. Because that is the trajectory of change that we are on. And so I think when we have this conversation, we have to ground it in fact.
I hate to admit that 40 years ago, I was in law school. 1978, I had to write a paper. And the paper was about a case called Bakke. Mr. Bakke wanted to go to medical school, and he didn't get admitted. And he was upset because some folk who didn't look like him got admitted, and he thought that he was more qualified. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court. Lewis Powell, a justice, wrote a concurrence. And I was surprised to learn, and the reason I'm sharing with you now is you may be surprised to learn, affirmative action didn't come out of the notion that we need to make sure that historically discriminated against people get a break. Lewis Powell's rationale was it benefits all students, including white students, to have a diverse learning environment.